I'm sorry to interrupt you, Scott. We're just seeing footage right now of Donald Trump exiting his car. He's about to speak.
It's a very sad day for America, and it was also very sad driving through Washington, D.C. and seeing the filth and the decay and all of the broken buildings and walls and the graffiti. This is not the place that I left. It's a very sad thing to see it. When you look at what's happening, this is a persecution of a political opponent. This was never supposed to happen in America. This is the persecution of the person that's leading by very, very substantial numbers in the Republican primary and leading Biden by a lot. So if you can't beat him, you persecute him or you prosecute him. We can't let this happen in America. Thank you very much, everyone.
Do you want these trials to happen before the 2024 election?
All right, so you have just heard from the former president there speaking for the first time since the arraignment. He is now boarding his own personal airplane at Reagan National Airport, expected to head back to his property in New Jersey. Scott, you heard him there claiming that this is a political prosecution. What do you make of what we just saw? Because this is the first time we're actually seeing him today.
There was just a certain air of defiance in how he carried himself in the courtroom. He, again, was really taking in the room. Spent the 20 minutes he was sitting there waiting for the judge to arrive to look through the crowd, which also included Jack Smith, the special counsel in this case. The case, though, moves here in an uncertain trajectory at an uncertain time. When his defense was offered three choices for the next hearing date, they chose the latest of the three, August 28. And then the judge who takes over this case, the district court judge, 2014 Obama appointee Tanya Chutkin, she'll really determine the next steps and the timing of the next steps. Because really all of this is not just a prosecution, but a race against the clock for a prosecution. Former president is going to be in primary season, caucus season in a matter of months. And soon we'll have his name on a ballot for Republican voters to choose. And this set of indictments, this set of prosecutions could potentially weigh on that or be an adrenaline shot for that. And he found a way today, Caitlin, really to control the optics. He chose to come in person, didn't have to, but chose to come in person to a courthouse where cameras are prohibited. Didn't have his picture taken like so many defendants in the courtroom or walking in with police. But he did get to appear on his own terms at his own location after riding in a motorcade. Optics so very much matter, and today he controlled the optics despite being the most famous criminal defendant in America of all time.
Certainly, and no stranger to these kinds of days. Major Garrett, you have covered this former president for so long now. I'm curious what your reaction is to what happened in court today and what you just saw from him in that very short statement he just made.
So that is part and parcel of the former president's presentation that he's a victim. There is a victim complex. He's a victim of relentless persecution because he's a political figure. And as Scott just pointed out, he has privileges extended to almost no other kind of defendant that comes before the bench, federal or otherwise. He arrives when he wants to. He arrives on terms set at least partially by him, and with all the encumbrances and protections of the U.S. Marshal Service, the Secret Service. So he does control this atmosphere, even as he portrays himself as a victim, point one. Point two, there is also something that the former president likes to bathe himself in, which is the idea or the concept of angelic innocence. He's never done anything wrong. Nothing could ever be said wrong about what he's ever done. And related to that, talking about Washington, D.C., looking filthy, broken since he left, something unclean about it, something illegitimate about it. That's part of the public relations campaign that the jurisdiction with which this case will be heard, within which this case will be heard, is somehow unclean up against this angelic innocence of a president who could do nothing wrong and who never did anything wrong. Last point. Why are we here? Why are these hundreds of cameras here? Why is the crowd of onlookers here? Why is there this massive security perimeter? Because on January 6th, feet from where Scott MacFarlane and I are standing, just over there, the west front, and to a certain extent the east front of the Capitol, was stormed by people who believed what the former president told them, something that was fundamentally untrue. that the election had been stolen, and the only way that they could achieve their measure of political justice was to storm that Capitol, beat up policemen, and threaten lawmakers, possibly with their very lives. That's why we are here. The choices that were made, rather, that brought January 6th to the steps of the U.S. Capitol and brought all of us here were made by one person, and one person only, Defendant Donald John Trump.